What is up, my YouTube fam? It's Bama Knife Guy back with another knife video for you guys. Actually, an assorted mixture of content here. Actually, it's just some pretties to put on the table to make everything look good. But anyway, this video is about a couple of different things. Numero uno, we're going to talk about this Reate. That's the Reate Augustus M390 marbled carbon fiber. Just got that not long ago. Got a couple other little things to bring up. I may split this up into a couple of videos because I've probably got 9 or 10 knives that I wanted to talk about. Haven't made a video in a little bit. My internet has been down at the house, so it's been making it extremely difficult for me to upload content. And so if I cannot shoot the video and then upload it right away, sometimes I forget. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to be talking about this guy right here. First and foremost, Voodoo Ranger IPA. Toasting to all my homies out there. By the way, this is something I won in a raffle, not with the lanyard. The lanyard came from J Blades, but I won this in a raffle from Vern Dog, along with this awesome flashlight and that Factor Equipment iconic right there. But yeah, so this is a freaking sweet bottle opener slash pry tool. I keep it in the kitchen because it's very, very large. You can see in comparison to the Sluice buoy there, it's a large chunk, so it's not anything I think I'm gonna be carrying in my pocket. But anyway, so yeah, toast to my homies, all the usual folks that have made the Bama Knife Guy channel a little bit larger than it started off as. Jared and Kara Neves, those are my homies. Mr. Super Steel Steve, Mr. Corey Glasser and his lovely fiance Nicole, good friends of mine. Patty's Potato Peelers, Woodland Tactical, and obviously our thoughts are going out to his brother who's dealing with that major injury right now. Southern Blades on Instagram, he shouts me out and helps me out. Vern Dog, Blue Collar Survival, BJ Hill on Instagram. All those dudes shout out my channel. They helped me get to 500 followers on Instagram recently. We did a little giveaway. An actual fellow Alabama guy goes by the name of Chipper. I may get the numbers wrong, but I think it's like Chipper 2273 or something like that on Instagram. He won my giveaway. I was super happy to see that another Bama dude won it, man. Of all the people, there was guys from around the world that entered that thing, and luckily a Bama dude won. But all right, let's get into some content. This is the Reate. I guess I'm saying that right. That's the way I hear everybody else say it, and that's the way Travis Vanway from the Knife Joker says it. When he and I were at Blade Show together, he said it, in front of me, Reate. So that's what we're going with. I've heard a couple dudes on Facebook, on YouTube call it Reate, Reate, just all sorts of retarded things. But yeah, so Reate, this is a collaboration with Kirby Lambert, who's a custom knife maker. Sorry guys, my throat's a little messed up. Excuse me. But this is one sweet knife, the Reate Augustus. Like I said before, it is marbled carbon fiber, titanium frame lock, M390 blade steel. See if you can get there's the M390 there. Man, I always struggle with getting things to focus. Boom, there we are. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. I love the pocket clip. I love the blue accents. It's got like I don't know if it's Damascus or if they just, made it look neat, but it looks Damascus-ish pivot with that like brass looking collar there. Obviously, Reate is known for their phenomenal action, and this blade grind is insane. And I was actually just talking to my buddy Corey about this a minute ago. I'm a little bit disappointed, me being a freehand sharpener and using a lot of DMT things like DMT diafolds and the DMT plates. Man, that recurve right there is a freaking struggle to do on a flat plate. If you're laying completely down, a recurve a big deal. But as soon as you tip up to get your angle, now you're no longer touching the plate with the center of the blade there. So Scott Ballantyne uses Sharp Maker to sharpen all his recurves. So that's what I may have to do. But I love to freehand sharpen. So if a knife is not enjoyable for me to sharpen, sometimes it doesn't make it long in my collection, and I really don't want that to happen to this one. I love this knife and I want to hold on to it, but that can only happen if I can sharpen it, because I just love to sharpen knives. But yeah, so yeah, just like with any other Reate, in my experience, in the few that I've handled at Blade Show, but this is the first one I've owned, the action is phenomenal. It is an absolutely fantastically smooth action. You can just kind of, you know, yeah, you get the drift. Everybody knows what a false shut action looks like. Steve's gonna make me make fun of me because drop shutty, but you know, when you've got a knife like that the action is smooth on, it is a joy to flip it and play around with it. That smoothness is great. It's a nice thick blade stock. It is surprisingly thin behind the edge to be such a thick blade stock and to be such a large knife. However, because of this this compound grind here, you can kind of see right there, it thickens up quite a bit right there, and then it gets thin again here. And it's I'm assuming you would just call it a Tonto with a recurve, but that grind is gorgeous. They've got a vertical grind here. See if we can get this to focus again. Vertical grind there, horizontal grind there, vertical there, like a 45-degree angle grind there. And I mean, it's just a beautiful job that they did on this. The only complaint that I have is that the jimping on this flipper tab is very freaking aggressive, and I've got tough hands, man. I work a physical labor job. You can see my thumb right there is just all chewed up, and that's not from flipping, but yeah, I got some tough hands, and that knife, if you flip it enough, it is not a flipper tab per se. You can deploy it that way, but it feels unusual. It's got that hard angle right there because it's not really made for that. It's more of a push button. It's more of a push straight in to deploy type of knife. But all in all, man, I'm super satisfied with it. This is just basically first impressions. I've only had it a couple days. I've cut with it a little bit and tried to knock that factory edge off and sharpen it because it did not come impressively sharp like I expected it to. I've heard some great things about Reate's stock edges, and I was not impressed. But that's coming from somebody that sharpens their knives past what a usual factory edge is capable of. I sharpen to, usually getting down to at least 1 micron, and most of the time can get all of my knives, regardless of the steel type, I can get them hair whittling. So that it's not really fair for me to go, that edge is not good, because it's not really what I'm used to. But it was a little unimpressive, and even my buddy across the street kind of agreed with that. I believe he and I had a conversation about the fact that it just wasn't super impressive out of the box as far as the edge goes. But the knife itself is. The build quality, Kirby Lambert has some great designs. Anybody that's familiar with his work would know that. I was not prior to this, but after looking up some of his stuff, man, it's pretty fantastic. The next one that I want to get is going to be another one of his designs, the Crossroads, and then I'm also interested in the Reate Valhalla, the hollowed out version that's got the cutouts in the handle there. But yeah, man, all in all, this has been a sweet knife to play around with. It fits really nice. It's got a nice palm swell. I guess I can show you some of the details too. It's got a kind of like a backspacer that's not touching the frame. It's kind of got standoffs between it and the frame. Looks kind of neat because you can see through it. The pocket clip's super nice. Lockup is pretty nice. I mean, I'd say that's what, 35%-ish lockups. I mean, obviously no one's gonna be surprised by the fact that there's no blade play. The lockup is super solid. It's just a nice knife, all around a nice knife. The centering is obviously gonna be, Reate spec, which is flawless. That's the way it came straight out of the box. Was just fantastic. And it looks kind of cool, man, looking at that floating backspacer with that centering dead on like that. It just looks really cool. You're like, man, that's some good craftsmanship. And of course, where the marbled carbon fiber meets the titanium, you cannot feel it. You can't catch it with your fingernail. I mean, it's almost as if it's just one piece. Same on this side. I mean, there is no edge. You can't feel anything. They did a really, really good job. I was super impressed. I had kind of expected that, seeing what I've seen so far out of Reate. I expected it to be super fantastic quality, and I wasn't let down. The only thing that disappointed me a little bit, like I said, was just the edge and the fact that that recurve in that blade just makes it a little bit of a pain in the ass to sharpen. But all in all, man, super freaking impressed. I've got a lot more knives on the table here, and I think because this has already run 10 minutes, I'm going to break it up into a few different videos because I've got some things from Jared and Kara Neves up here that they sent me. This is not one of theirs, but I still want to discuss this one that I got from Burn Dog in that giveaway. It's a Factor Equipment iconic S35VN titanium frame lock flipper. And apparently, from what I've heard, I got to do a little research on it before I delve into it, but I heard there was a little bit of controversy around this knife pertaining to this knife, the Ace Biblio. And if you look at it, the way the frame is designed, I mean, I could kind of see that. And it's coming from a pretty damn good source. I think it came from Jared Neves, I think was the one. Neve, I always call him Neves. It's Jared Neve was the one that brought that to my attention. The fact that that apparently Vox had some issues with them producing this, with Factor Equipment producing this knife, and it was discontinued. And I'm sorry if I'm misquoting, but I think it was Jared that told me that. And if that's the case, then that's why it was discontinued, because it was just too close to their design, and apparently there was a little bit of a controversy involved, and they did indeed discontinue this knife, the Factor Equipment. So, but all in all, not a bad knife at all. The detent could be a little stronger. If you kind of lightly just push on the flipper, you don't really get much. So you got to give it a tug. That's what she said. And then the pocket clip, I'm not super impressed with. It's just like a little thin, stamped out sheet metal pocket clip. But other than that, man, it's a superb little knife. I dig it. It's a 4-finger knife. You're right on the edge, but you are able to get 4 fingers on it. The titanium has this really dark coating on it that is super easy to scratch. I found that out when I put that nice scratch in it, just setting it on the table the other day. But I'm going to discuss this knife. I'm going to talk about the Biblio. This ZT, I cannot remember what ZT it is. It's either an 0450 or an 0452. I'm not a ZT guy, so... but Jared and Kara, oh hell, it might be right there. Let's see. 0450, how about that? Sinkovich design. They sent me this one to check out. They sent me the Biblio to check out. They sent me their Benchmade bug out, which I've fallen in love with. This is such a cool little knife. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about these in my next video. I'm going to cut this one short here. Not necessarily short, but you get my drift. I'm going to cut it and do these spacer mounts so it's not insanely long. People don't watch those long ass videos anyway. That's it, man. I just wanted to tell you guys about this one, give you my first impressions. I'm super pleased with it. There again, I don't know if it's going to be sticking around. It may go up for sale. So if there's anyone that's interested in it, obviously I'm not going to charge retail for it. It is a used knife. I've carried it a couple times, cut a little, a couple of things with it. And the only issue, you probably can barely even see it. There is the lightest little mark right there, and you have to catch it in the light to see it on that pocket clip. And that's from my truck door bumping it. But yeah, so it may go up for sale. So if anybody's interested, you think you may want to get your hands on that thing, let me know, and I may let it go. I'm not 100% sure yet, but if there's any interest, it may bump me over the edge and get me to go ahead and do it. But I guess I'm going to go ahead and stop it there and try to keep it under 15 minutes. And I will be posting this video and a couple more tomorrow. I've got tons of knives laying over here. I've got 3 examples of the Domino here that I'm gonna talk about. This one here, the blue one, and this one is belongs to my buddy Corey. This one I actually bought from Mr. Steve, Super Steel Steve, the other day, and I'm super impressed with the Domino. This was my first experience with it, and it just so happened that I bought this one, and Corey sent these 2 right around the same time, so I've got tons of experience with it now. But Anyway, all that's coming up next and more here on the Bama Knife Guy channel. All right, guys and gals, I love you. I'm out.